Hello and welcome to the second in our series of webinars on sports performance science. This webinar will be on how to design and perform an assessment protocol with XSENSOR's X4 Intelligent Insole System. The key takeaways for our webinar today are first, to understand how plantar pressure and gait measuring devices like the XSENSOR X4 Intelligent Insole System can help facilitate athletic assessment protocols. We'll learn about how to create and implement an action plan that includes testing, monitoring, and intervention to assess athletes, improve sports performance, and prevent injuries. And finally, we'll experience how to configure and set up the X4 Intelligent Insole System hardware and software to perform your baseline measurements and complete the analysis of foot zones. Like I mentioned, this is the second in our series of webinars, how to design and perform an assessment protocol with the X4 Intelligent Insole Systems. And stay tuned for our next in the series, which will be on improving human performance and return to play with plantar pressure data analysis. Our agenda, after our introduction, we'll review our intelligent dynamic sensing platform. We'll talk about the X4 Intelligent Insole System, and then transition to creating an action plan and the implementation process, how to configure the hardware and software, performing those baseline measurements, and finally looking at the foot zone analysis method. I'm Bruce Malkinson, Chief Operating Officer here at XSENSOR Technology Corporation, and I have joining me again today, Antonio Robustelli, International Sports Performance Consultant. Antonio, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, Bruce. Hi, thank you. I am Antonio Robustelli. I am a sports performance consultant, a sports scientist from Italy, working all over the world since more than 15 years as a consultant with individual athletes and professional teams ranging from professional and Olympians to semi-professionals. I'm also working on the educational side by educating people and coaches all over the world, and my main focus in the last year has been in improving the application of technology in sport.
A little bit about XSENSOR technology. For over 25 years, XSENSOR has built pressure imaging systems with outstanding accuracy and quality for nurses, therapists, vehicle and tire designers, safety engineers, mattress designers, and retailers around the world. Our technology integrated in the X4 insoles is the best of our continuous skin monitoring, the best of our product design and safety testing technology, and finally, even technology that's used in our sleep improvement products. Our intelligent dynamic sensing platform, the evaluation of plantar pressure and gait, provides key insights into optimizing athletic performance, and without it, those gains may never be realized. Those insights are key, with the difference in top competitors nowadays coming down to tenths of a second or less. And existing plantar pressure, gait measurement products and systems are not suitable for real-world testing in the field, clinical, sports, or performance research applications. XSENSOR's intelligent dynamic sensing reveals athletic gait and motion data to help biomechanics professionals optimize human performance. And now I'll pass it to Antonio for an introduction of XSENSOR's X4 Intelligent Insole System.
Thank you for registering to this webinar and welcome. This is the second webinar of the XSENSOR Sports Performance Science series. During the first webinar, I did an introduction about how to apply the plantar pressure technology in sports and the basis and the basic biomechanics concepts behind the technology and the difference between force measurement and pressure measurement, both in terms of hardware and software. In this second webinar, we will start going into more specific aspects of application of plantar pressure systems in sports performance. Today, we are going to talk about the X4 Intelligent Insole System, which I like to call ecosystem. Why ecosystem? From an etymological point of view, the ecosystem means home from the Greek oikos, home and system, which is a series of interdependent and interconnected elements. And in this case, the X4 intelligent system is composed by hardware, software, and athlete. The hardware is the intelligent insole system and in-show sensors and wireless electronic sensor packs. The software is the XSENSOR Pro foot and gait software, and the athlete, which is the player or subject. Let's discuss each of the point of this intelligent ecosystem. The hardware. The hardware is the insole, the in-show insole. It's completely wireless. The thickness is only 1.8 millimeter. It is undetectable to the user wearer. And this is a very fundamental aspect for sports applications. And the resolution is of 230 sensors per foot. And the weight of the sensor packs and the data transmission logger is only 42 grams. So you don't have any type of restriction and limitation to movement. And the main goal of an assessment protocol is to provide the player, the athlete, the maximum comfortability when performing sport-specific movement, with no wireless and no other things and elements attached to the other parts of the body. The second element of this intelligent ecosystem is the software, the X4, the XSENSOR Pro foot and gait software. You can perform the pressure analysis, you can perform a gait analysis as well with spatiotemporal parameters. You can analyze the force time and pressure time curve and analyze these curves depending on the zone of the foot, and we will see later in the webinar what is the foot zone analysis and how you can create a segmentation of the foot in different zones to analyze the force time and pressure time curves for each zone and comparing left to the right. The last part, and probably the most important, together with the insole and software, is the athlete, okay? Because we call it athlete-centered approach. This is the real difference in using plantar pressure mapping and systems like the X4 Intelligent Insole System, because the system can be adapted to the individual. So this is very, very different respecting other type of assessment where the athlete or the player is limited by the space of a platform or the limited space of a lab. The insole adapt to the individual, and the individual is able to move freely. So this is why we call it athlete-centered approach. And even the coaching time required to explain the athlete how to perform the test and the assessment is very, very reduced respect to other standard tests. Here we can see what is the athlete-centered approach concept. The system adapts to the athlete to measure the natural movements and not vice versa. The wireless option allows you to capture specific movements without restrictions or limitation. Coaching and cueing a pressure mapping test is also easy, as the athlete player is free from any limitation in spatial movement. The process is very, very easy because you can perform the test having all your pressure data, measure and analyze it. And based on this pressure data, you can analyze both movement quantity, movement quality, and movement efficiency. What we mean for movement efficiency? Thanks to pressure data, we can analyze the development and how the center of pressure is developing during each foot strike. And having an idea of how the center of pressure is able to adapt to the shifts and to support the shifts of center of mass forward is one of the key to assess the efficiency of an individual's body mechanic. Let's see how to create an action plan and how to start the process of implementation of a plantar pressure technology. First, let's answer the question, what is technology? It is important to understand how to answer technology, because today there is probably 4 main elements creating confusion when talking about technology. Misunderstanding of the term, because sometimes one is usually think about technology like something related to electronics and something new. And this is not always the case. So this led to an indiscriminate use of tools and tests just to show that we are using technology. This led to a misuse and an abuse of technologies, leading to the data overload. So having a lot of data with no ability to really use and transform this data into actionable insights to improve performance and monitoring rehabilitation and so on. But the use of technology, this is the second question that we need to answer. Is technology really helping you in connecting the dots of the human performance? Let's look at the etymology of the term technology. It's from the Greek techne and logia. The definition is technology is a method, a system, an art. So it is a system or method of making or doing. Understanding the meaning of the term technology with no misinterpretation of the term can help us in introducing the concept of systematic framework technology. What is the systematic framework technology? It is a process which is composed of 4 main steps that can help a professional working in sports, science, and performance to create a plan on how to add plantar pressure systems into their daily practice. What is a plan? A plan regards the timing of application of a specific test and assessment protocol, which is weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, etc. The system is a set of both general and specific assessment protocols. The goals is answering the question of what to measure, and in this case, it is important to identify the key performance indicators so that you know what you want to measure and what you want to track over time. And the last step is analyze its capability. So the ability to transform the data measured and obtained from the systems into immediately actionable insights. Let's look at the action plan. So what are the main characteristics of an action plan to create a systematic framework? First step, technology, communication, interpretation, and knowledge. Knowledge is required because every implementation needs a sort of learning curve. So you need to know and having basic knowledge of the scientific concepts behind the technology you are implementing. Interpretation related to how to use and interpret the data obtained by the test. Communication related to establish a proper communication among various members of the staff and the team to work toward a common goal. And the last step is the practical implementation of technology into the daily work and daily routine of a professional organization or a professional team. Let's have a look of some practical framework and models on the implementation of technology and plantar pressure. So we are going to answer the question how we can practically implement the technology and how to use if on a daily, on a weekly, the timing of application and so on. Let's start with an example of implementation in a press season. As you can see from the graph, we have two main columns, profiling and screening and monitoring. So we have two different goals. Profiling and screening is the first part of an assessment protocol during the pre-season in a professional team, in any team sports, where you are going to create some baseline measurement for each player. And the monitoring section is when you are going to monitor, after creating the baseline, you are going to monitor any changes in the baseline due to training, fatigue, and so on. During the profiling screening in pre-season, first, in pre-season, it's good to use and test players daily, on a daily basis, let's say for 1 week or 10 days. This is to create the baseline. You can create the baseline for the gait pattern and the running analysis, and also for specific skills depending on the type of sport. And you can create an individual risk profiling where you are going to identify potential red flags in terms of biomechanical variables. This is to create an injury risk profile. For the monitoring aspect, you are going to assess mainly three aspects: the performance in pre-season, looking at the short-term adaptations of the player during the pre-season training process; looking at fatigue, so the acute responses to training load; and looking at rehab and the effects of potential rehab protocols if any player is rehabilitating from a previous injury. And the process is simple, is testing, monitoring, intervention, and retesting at the end. This is how this process differ during the season. In season, we are using technology for two aspects: testing and monitoring as well. For testing, we are looking at in this case we are looking at the long-term adaptations during the season, because in pre-season you need to prepare and train and develop abilities. During the season, you mainly need to maintain a constant level of performance. So in this case, we are going to check the long-term adaptation and the effectiveness of training intervention. For monitoring, we are looking at injury risk, some sort of compensation strategies happening, and any deviation from the baseline. See, this is why having a baseline measurement with pressure mapping at the beginning of the season can help to identify injury risk during the season. And looking at deviation, only with a baseline you can look at any change during the season. We're looking at fatigue, both acute and chronic, and at return to play process for rehab athletes. Let's look at how we can configure the hardware and software. This is a very, inserting the sensor is a very simple and quick process, and it is ideal for out of the lab application. As you can see from the picture, the first step is to cap the sensor lengthwise, insert the sensor into the shoe, and attach the electronics with the metal clips to the side of the shoe. So this is very, very fast. The second step is opening the software. Once inserted the sensor, you just need to open the software and doing a couple of steps to open a new measurement and configure the sensors, and you are immediately ready to test, which is an important aspect, especially in team sports where you are always under pressure and when you have limited time to test players. So one of the discriminants when trying to choose a system, a plantar pressure system for implementation in sports is the ability to be very, very fast and easy in the setup process. How to perform a baseline measurement? Let's see. First of all, let's define what is a baseline measurement. A baseline measurement is a general, not specific, measurement to perform as a first step in order to assess general biomechanics parameters related to foot function and gait running symmetry. And the main goal of a baseline measurement is to assessing movement efficiency and profiling injury risk. As I mentioned before, what I mean for movement efficiency. When we talk about movement efficiency, we're talking about the ability of the center of pressure to adjust in order to support any imbalances in the center of mass when trying to move forward. You know, movements occur over time, and the basics of movement is moving the center of mass forward. And in this way, what we need to check the efficiency of the movement is to look at how the center of pressure is supporting any type of imbalances of the center of mass. And as you can see from the picture here in this slide, we can analyze center of pressure in different ways with the plantar pressure system and with the X4 Insole System. In this case, the center of pressure is represented by this gray line at the middle of the foot from the heel to the forefoot. What is a protocol for a baseline measurement? We perform two main basic tests. at 30 seconds of normal walking and at 30 seconds of easy running. The baseline measurement is a general protocol which is not specific, so it can be used for any kind of sports, whether it is a speed and power sports or endurance-based sports. Okay. Why we perform a 30 seconds of normal walking and easy running? We consider walking as the most fundamental movement patterns. So by looking at how a person is walking in 30 seconds can help us in first identify if there is a synchrony of the body and if there is a symmetry between the left and right side, both in terms of pressure and in terms of spatiotemporal parameters, in terms of stride, length, and so on. Looking at that gait cycle. With the 30 seconds easy running, we are going to look if there is a difference and any compensation when transitioning from normal walking to higher velocity. And this helps us in understanding how I like to call it the individual biomechanical footprint. This is an example of graphical representation and output of a basic measurement with the X4 Insole System. On the left, you can see the pressure image. This is called a peak pressure image, where you can see the areas of higher at peak pressure during one gait, each stride, left and right side. You can see the development of center of pressure in the gray line, and you can see the so-called butterfly diagram. And this is an aspect that we are going to see in detail in the next webinar, the third webinar. On the right side, you can see the curves. The curves for the left and right fit peak pressure versus time. And also you can see the peak pressure versus time curves for the different part of the foot. For the left heel, midfoot, metatarsal, and toe, and right heel, right midfoot, right metatarsal, and right toe. And this brings us to introduce the foot zone analysis method. The foot zone analysis methods is probably one of the most important data output that you can obtain from plantar pressure system, and this is the main discriminants the main difference between pressure analysis and force analysis, because as I told you during the first webinar, the segmentation of the foot is possible with thanks to the pressure, specific pressure technology, and the fact that the system is comprised of matrix, and each sensor has a force information. And the segmentation of the foot, as you can see from the picture on the right, can help us in create 3 different zones, like the rear foot, midfoot, and forefoot, and having for each of this zone separated force time and pressure time curves, because the function of the foot is the result of a powerful mechanism, is a very delicate balance between different joints and muscle working together in a coordinated way and in a synchronized way in a specific timing. So understanding how each of the three portions of the foot is synchronized with the corresponding part can help us understanding how the athlete can improve some weak links, especially for running-based activities where propulsion and development of center of pressure is fundamental to create a powerful movement and to perform and to win in a competition. The segmentation of the foot, as you can see from this slide, can help us in isolating the forefoot, the midfoot, and the rear foot, and analyzing each segment in relation to the entire foot. It can provide us about information about foot segments, information about the ankle, the subtalar joint, the metatarsophalangeal joint, and all these aspects will be part of our next webinar about the data analysis of the plantar pressure assessment. This is another example of data output of the XSENSOR Pro Foot and Gait software. You can see a gait analysis assessment protocols. On the left, you can see the footprints. On the right, in the middle of the screen, you can see the pressure versus time curves for the whole foot or for different part of the foot. On the right, you can see different data and parameters related to the gait cycle, like the time of peak pressure, stance average pressure, the temporal parameters like step time, stride time, and so on. In conclusion, the X4 Intelligent Insole System is a new technology, and it can help to facilitate athletic assessment protocols, and it's the only one available today which has no wires and is very, very undetectable for the athlete and the player. We talked about the action plans and how to create action plans, including testing, monitoring, and intervention, and how them allow you to assess athletes, improve sports performance, and prevent injuries. And how to analyze and look the real data. We saw some of the main data output obtained by the baseline measurement from the X4 and XSENSOR's Pro Foot and Gait software system. And in the next webinars, we are going to explain you how to practically analyze the data and how to use the data with some specific case studies depending on the sport. The next webinar will be about how to improve human performance and return to play with plantar pressure data analysis. We will see some real data. We will see some real report and how we analyze the data obtained by the plantar pressure testing, and what is the meaning of each of the metrics that we look at when analyzing an athlete with the X4 Intelligent Insole System.
Great, thanks so much, Antonio. To learn more about Antonio and Omni Athlete, you can visit his website at omni-athlete.com. And we want to thank everyone for attending. And you can contact our team today to schedule an online demo if you like, or to get more information about our products and how we might be able to help with your application. Contact us at sales@xsensor.com.